And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OSC as we have returned. We have returned here, and we're jumping in mid-series into Clem versus Solar. We're here in the quarterfinals of the WardiTV Monday. Again, we missed out on game 1, but we are here for game number 2. One of these days, we'll get into a fresh series. I mean, like every single time, we barely miss out on game 1. Every time. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But we do jump in mid-series, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Persephone, we have our French Terran player. We have our blue Terran representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Solar. Here we go, and again, Solar, he is on his redemption arc. He popped off, I should say, winning 2, almost 3 events last week. It was crazy to see Solar's performances, and Solar, he was able to excel against Protoss and against Terran. Solar did defeat Clem last week in the Monday Night Weeklies, so very impressive performance there by Solar. We'll see if he can replicate that success though, because already he is down in the series. Game 1 was on Whispers of Gold. Whispers of Gold is a little bit more favored towards aggressive Terran play, and we saw Clem just go for a standard 7-minute timing with Bio Tank. He was able to overwhelm Solar, and Solar did have a very hard time defending on Whispers of Gold, but that is typically what we expect. Typically here in this matchup, especially in current meta, Zerg players do want larger maps to give them as much time as possible, as much breathing room to defend against these more aggressive timing attacks. Before we get into it though, if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series against Solar. He has been on fire recently. He did defeat Clem last week, did bring him down in the Monday Night Weeklies, but we do see that he's now down in the series. Personally, I hope to see an ace match. I would hope to see an ace match regardless of the outcome, regardless of whether or not Clem makes it or Solar makes it. I would love to see game 3 between these two, but the pressure is on as Clem comes in with the SCV Scout. Now, welcome one and all to Persephone. Again, Persephone, this is a new TLMC map. We have been casting this map very often. I would say this is one of the more popular maps in the Team Liquid map contest, and you can even see here the players that are willing to play on it even more so than current maps in the ladder map pool. It does go to show and does say something about the current maps in the ladder map pool. Like, there's definitely a lot wrong with them, or I should say there's definitely a lot that players as well as viewers alike not too fond of here, especially when it comes to some of the older 2017, 2018 maps that were decided to be added to the map pool. This is also why all the tournaments have removed them. KSL, Sparkling Tuna Cup, Turtle Tussle, WardiTV Monday, Monday Night Weeklies. I think all online, or I should say most online open cups have removed those 3 old maps from the map pool and replaced them with other TLMC maps instead. WardiTV Monday being the last to really adopt that. But finally, let's go. Finally, as of last week, Wardi did decide to finally get rid of those old maps and did replace them with TLMC maps. Did capitulate? We got him back. We got him. As we have 3 CC, 3rd CC before Starports, economic build here by Clem. Meanwhile, Clem does poke in, and Clem is going to be zoned away and forced back. Here we go. As we're getting into the rest of our game. Oh, my apologies before I get ahead of myself. It's going to be a 3 CC 2-1-1. Hello. Clem being a little more aggressive here, going for an earlier timing. Now, before we get into this build, welcome one and all to Persephone. If you maybe haven't watched the CranKy Ducklings over the past week, maybe you haven't seen this map, but here on this map, there are a couple of features. We have a healing pad. We have a healing pad on the right-hand side. We have an alley of speed zones on the right-hand side as well, all leading into this gold base. So there is a lot of unique features on the right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Hellions, they bust into the mineral line so far. 4 drones going to be going down. Decent damage so far here from Clem. Does get those 4 worker kills. And bearing in mind, Clem, his Hellion count is going to be very low because of the 2-1-1. Here, we should be seeing an add-on swap. Yep, add-on swap into mass bioproduction. This is going to be a stim timing with 2 medevacs with 14 Marines. I say 14 Marines, we do see Clem actually makes an extra Hellion, so this will eat into his Marine count. This might mean he's going to be pushing with like 12 Marines instead, or 13 Marines. So the Marine count is going to be a little bit lower than it usually is. But again, he's going to sacrifice his Hellion count for a higher and earlier bio army instead, for that stim timing with the medevacs. So that is on the horizon. Meanwhile, we do see Solar trying to defend, trying to maintain himself. The rush distance by ground on Persephone is quite short. I would say it's not as short as Whispers of Gold, but I would say it's kind of like middle of the road when it comes to the rush distance by ground. Likewise, you can expand away from your opponents. You can try to rush in towards the gold bases as well. That is going to be a factor. Getting a 5th base can be a little bit more awkward on this map. But we'll see how Solar does expand and where he gets his 4th. Whether he expands towards the corner or towards his opponent instead. Meanwhile, the medevacs are on the way. The Marines are building up. So far, 13 Marines. Looks like we will get up to the higher Marine counts. Yeah, just barely. Getting up to 16. So 16 Marines here for Clem. In towards that double drop across the map. Meanwhile, Solar, he's going, ooh, double Eva Chamber first. Okay. Cheeky move. Basically, we have a greedy build here from Solar. Solar, he delays his lair. The lair just started. So very late lair here and late Baneling Nest, but earlier upgrades. So earlier 1-1 upgrades here out of Solar. This tells me that Banelings and Baneling speed is going to be delayed this game, and there's going to be a window where Solar has to defend without Banelings or Baneling speed. So there's a window here that Clem can abuse. So far, Clem, he does rotate, does unload. Does threaten the would-be 4th. Speaking of 4th bases, Solar, he does expand away from Clem. So a much safer 4th expansion. And it is going to be difficult here for Clem to bring this base down. This is what Clem was able to accomplish on Whispers of Gold. Again, Whispers of Gold is just such a small map, and Clem was just very successful with his aggression in Game 1. Here in Game 2, it's going to be more difficult. This is a more defendable 4th. Oh, does stem in, going for the drones. No, they do try to get away. They rush into the speed zones. Likewise, so do the Marines. And yeah, they're going to be chased down. They're going to be chased down one after the other. 7 drone kills. Ay, ay, ay. That should not have happened. Brutal losses here for Solar. Solar, he will defend the 4th, but at a cost. At a cost of 7 workers. With that Clem, he does have a very strong start. Does deal economic damage. Behind this building up towards the next phase, towards the 1-1 timing. Now, as you can see here, he's 8 raxing. We're going for a 3-base all-in. 3-base all-in, 8 racks out of Clem. He does take a gas geyser, so typically with this 3-base all-in, you don't take your gases. A gas geyser is indicative of a 2nd factory and of a 4th CC. So Clem, he might decide to expand. For the time being, though, he's 8 raxing. 8 raxing, massing up his army. For now, just going for drop play. Going for the 5th. 5th base taking a lot of hits and is going to be cancelled. Ooh, that's a kill. That's a kill, not a cancel. Brutal loss there for Solar. As Clem is still waiting for an extra wave of reinforcements. Waiting for an extra wave of Marines, extra wave of tanks. You can see here, yes, he did take the gas guys, but only 1 worker. Only 1 worker in gas, so he is committing to the 3-base all-in. It's all or nothing. This is purely Marines and tanks. No Marauders, no Widowmines. Just pure Marine tank, 3-base all-in. Making 12 Marines at a time. No add-ons here on those 3 extra vaxes. And either he breaks Solar, or he breaks Solar. I mean, oh boy. It's going to be a tough hold. Clem is pushing forward, going for the 5th. The 5th base is denied once again. Clem is pushing forward. Solar takes on the first Hellbat. But the creep is receding. Solar's being forced further back here. Not bad. The splits were okay, but we had some better Baneling connections. Last Bio Army does keep pushing forward. And as Solar runs out of Banelings, Clem is finding an opening here. Oh. Has to be careful with his reinforcements. Ooh, will save the tank. Oh, pick up. Whew. Saves it. Oh my god, oh, that's a mineral wall. I just realized. I wasn't fully aware. There's no surround potential. Solar, he's trying to come in from behind, but it's just an awkward setup. Yeah, tank volleys are brutal. And Solar looks like he will barely clean this up. He shuts down every single tank, and Solar holds. He does hold on. Takes his 5th base. As a reminder, behind this, we just now throw down a 4th CC. This 4th CC is late. The 2nd factory is late as well. Clem, the goal here was to kill Solar, and he failed. He failed at killing Solar. And now Solar, for the first time in a long time, takes a supply lead. Takes the lead in supply. Hive is on the way. Lurker Den as well. We have the token Storm Host. But Solar is in a better position. Is in a better position here. Collapsing on the tank. Tank is going to fall. And again, Clem, he just wasn't ready for a longer game here. That's why he just keeps pushing, and he will find damage. Gets into the mineral line. Solar out of position. He's racing on over. Clem is clawing his way back into this game. Gets 8 drones. Starts up 3-3. Trying to get his 4th base. And you can see he just keeps on going for these drops. I mean, again, he has to. He has to just keep going for the drop play. Solar distracted here by the first drop. And again, he's not in position here in the main. Does pull away. Clem, he could go for the tech. He could go for the lurker den. Going for the hive. I mean, why not? But why? Either one is a good option. There we go. Takes down the lurker den. Massive snipe. Denies the upgrade. Oh, and Solar's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble here. Without the lurkers, I mean, that's how he was going to defend against this push. The lurkers would have made this so much easier here. But now 0 lurkers for Solar. Likewise, the hive barely survives. Clem is pulling Solar apart. And again, I was so impressed by Solar's defense earlier for him to survive the 3-base all-in. But the aggression continues. Clem, he takes down the 5th, he pulls away, that's all he needs. Just kill the 5th base. Why? Because he has a 4th. We're even on bases, so the Terran player is ahead. Clem, he is maintaining a better economy. Now catching up on tech as well. Solar, he needs a 5th, but he can't get it. He cannot and he will not get a 5th base. Clem is at both 5th locations. Sieges off those tanks, clears up all the creep. Pulls away for now, moving in once again. That's another cancel. And again, this is all that Clem needs. Clem, he doesn't have to keep pushing. Just deny the 5th over and over and over again. Here comes the rest of the army. Oh, catching Solar out. Yeah, Solar once again forced to cancel. Solar just cannot expand. He's being starved out. Here comes Clem. Clem, he's maxed. Solar, I believe he has Vipers. He has Blinding Clouds. And Show says Blinding Clouds. Does connect with the tanks. Yeah, tanks, they do get covered. They get blanketed. Nice engage there by Solar. Shuts down the tanks. Whew. Forces back Clem. So, you know, thankfully, Solar, he did not lose that hive earlier. Still has the Vipers. They survived. Gathering more energy. Yeah, we have a back and forth. More importantly, Solar takes the 5th. He needs to get up and running though. Easier said than done. He has no active creep tumors. Like, there's no creep here spreading out into the map. He's only connecting his bases. Clem is still in a better position. Behind this, now getting into ghost production. So even though we have lurkers on the way for Solar, and again, remember, the lurkers are late. Even though they're on the way, we already have ghosts. Ghosts are already building up here for Clem. Now getting a 5th expansion. Oh, God. It's getting a 5th base. Not like this. Oh, nice catch. So he does walk into lurkers. That was a good start for Solar. Bearing in mind that was only Marines, but a good start nonetheless. Solar moving in. Trying to catch out the Bio Army. Going for the tanks as well. Tank squad on siege. Not bad. He's going for the mineral line. Going for the SCVs. Gets a decent trade, but he has to reserve those Hydras. Pulls away. Likewise, we have the Nidus Swarm in production. Overseer into the main base. But Clem is paying attention. Does notice. Takes down the Overseer. Denies the Nidus. On the front lines, Clem, he holds on. Clem does hold. Solar falling back. Building up more Banelings. Likewise, Clem going for a drop. And we've seen time and time again, Solar just being caught out of position. There's no spores here. There's very limited vision as well. That hive is still low from earlier. Very low. going for the mineral line. Gets caught by Lings. This time Soul is ready. Solo double expanding, getting his 5th base, now going for a 6th and a 7th as well. Solo, he's recovering. Now he's still lacking in upgrades and he still needs a little bit more time for 3-3. Likewise, lurker upgrades are all complete. Let's go over his lurker upgrades. Speaking of, we could see attempted lurker harass on the right hand side. Viper's getting caught out! Oh yeah, brutal catch. 2 Vipers get sniped, not a single spell. Very nice catch there by Clem. Does kite back, bleed out one of the ghosts. Solo's gonna try to keep chasing here into tank fire. Oh my god, does overextend. Not the place to fight. Yeah, Solo gets punished for chasing. There's that Nidus on the right hand side. Lurkers, they deny mining. I can't, they deny mining, then get the hell out of here. Oh no! 1 lurker left behind. As we do see a pretty defensive position here for Clem. The angle of attack here is a little bit more open, a little bit more wide, I will say that. But overall, the SimCity is solid here. Clem has his whole position here at the triangular 3rd. Likewise, at the center expansion, this is a little bit more open, and we are lacking some SimCity here, I will say that. So this is maybe the best angle of attack for Solo, but even then, it's still going to be awkward just because of the terrain. Lurkers, they burrow, but we have liberation, we have freedom. Gets 2 ghosts. Oh god. Still better trade for Clem. Solo going for a Ling run by, but the planetary is soon to complete. Oh, meanwhile, Clem out of position. Yeah, was not here, was not ready for this. Again, this was the best kind of angle here for Solar. No SimCity. Planetary goes down. Not bad. Nidus to right. The Nidus collapsing here on some of these ghosts. Once again, not a bad trade here for Solar. Oh, but is he overextending? Takes out more ghosts. Oh, that was 6. Okay, that was 6 ghosts for 3 Hydras, 4 Lurkers, a massive amount of Lings. Expansion is denied. They do escape. Love the use of those Lings. They actually canceled the snipes. Did save those Lurkers. Once again, Solo pushing through the center, and once again, this center location is still very undefended. So Solo can find some better trades here. We're lacking like 2-3 CCs. Clem doesn't have the minerals for it, not yet. Solar, he has now gained momentum once again. Going for the tanks, pushing through the center. This time there's a turret. Better defense this time from Clem. Lings, they do find another tank. Going for the SCVs. Solar moving in. There is somewhat of a bio-army in position. Nidus Storm does actually distract Clem. It does distract him. Solo moves in, punishing Clem. It's a couple of Baneling connections. Double. It does pull away. Lings there unburrow in the mineral line. Solar hunting for the ghosts. Bold move by Solar. I don't think he can quite engage here. Pushing into a choke point. Yeah, this is not the place to be. It's not the place to push into. You can see the difference between the Solar engaging out in the open or trying to push into these command centers. Solar just cannot break this location outside of the natural. So let's take down 14 SCVs. Top right has now gotten up and running. Planetary does complete. Solar, ideally, he does want to deny that expansion somehow, some way. Oh, Clem not paying attention. We'll lose a ghost. Please add a ghost. Likewise, once again, a better angle. Once again, the Bio Army a little bit too far back. Tank's going to be going down. Aliens are going for the ghost. Up. They don't quite connect. A handful of ghosts go down. Lings, they bust into the mineral line. Clem is holding on. And what's important here is Clem is being contained to his corner of the map. We do see Solar taking every other base. He takes the gold base, of course, takes a bottom left, and even taking top left as well. Taking every expansion. So even though Solar has been a little bit wasteful at some times, and I will admit that 100%, he can afford it. He can afford to be wasteful. He has a greater economy. He has map control. I am concerned that he has yet to do anything about top right. That is a concern. Expansion towards the top right is quite healthy here for Clem. Nidus into the natural. How many lurkers? 3. 3 lurkers. Once again, Solo pushing in, takes down the tank. He gets 1, he gets 2. Takes down 2 tanks. This time does get on top of the ghost. Oh my god, takes down almost every single ghost. Very nice trade. And Solo takes down the expansion as well. Takes down the tanks, the ghosts, the CC. That was 5 ghosts going down. There's 2 ghosts remaining. And Clem, he's running out of steam. At this point, Clem has lost too much. He's bleeding out too many units, too many high-tech units, more importantly, whether it's tanks, ghosts, liberators. And Solo is going for the kill. He's going for the throat. He has done it. He's broken the back of Clem. GG, yes, Solar, he will take game number 2, tying things up 1-1. Whew, GG. So we are getting into the ace match. And again, unfortunately, Clem, I would say that he did have the opportunity to try to set up SimCity in that center location, but he never quite went for it at the time. Instead, because of that, we saw Solar abusing that location time and time again, just ensuring that Clem never had the opportunity to actually wall up and just set up all those CCs, command centers, any kind of SimCity in that center location. Because that never got up and running, I mean, Solar, he abused it so often, so well. GG. GG, well played. We're going to the ace match. And a lot of this comes down to the maps. Ooh, I don't know who to favor here. As up next, we're going to the ace match. We're going to be loading into Amygdala. Amygdala is a larger map in the map pool. That is true. It is a larger map, but it is also a map that does open up. Towards the center, or sorry, towards a longer game state, as rocks can be knocked down and it becomes a little more accessible. As we are, never mind. When I said that we're getting into Amygdala, apparently we're not. Apparently we are not getting into Amygdala. They're just going over. We're just trying to figure out what the vetoes were, and it looks like game 3 is supposed to be on Sandworm. Correct. Sorry. Players just sorting things out. They're checking their logs. Yeah, there we go. So not gonna be me. So never mind. I was about to get into the map itself when it comes to Amygdala and some of its features, but never mind. So Amygdala was vetoed, and we are gonna be loading into Sandworm instead. Sandworm. Ooh, I still don't have the best read on Sandworm. So for those of you that have been watching over the past couple of weeks now, Sandworm is one of the new TLMC maps. Sandworm is a small map. That is true. It is a small map in the map pool. But because of the terrain, because of the dragon's teeth on Sandworm, because of the rocks, because of some of the cliff faces as well, oh. Hold on. It might not, before I start talking about Sandworm, it might not be Sandworm. Yo, Solo and Clem, they have no idea what they vetoed. Okay, we're good, we're good. Okay. So we're getting into Sandworm. But yeah, so Sandworm has a lot of features that actually make it quite defendable, more so than, say, Ultra Love, I feel. In some ways, yes, in some ways, no. We'll get into it. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting map, and I don't yet know if it favors the mid game or not, if it favors longer game states, and if you can turtle up on it. We'll see. We shall see. It's an intriguing map for sure. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Sandworm, we have our South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Team Falcons, tying up the series 1-1 and forcing the ace match. It is Solar. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the French Terran player. We have the Red Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. Here we go. Now, if you haven't voted in the Team Liquid map contest, I think it's already closed. It might still be open. Sandworm is a map that I did vote for. I'm comfortable saying that at this point. But I think voting is closed, or maybe still open for a couple of hours. If you haven't voted, you should vote. You should do your civic duty as a member of the StarCraft community. If you haven't voted for the maps for the Team Liquid map contest, you should be. Quickly double checking here. Is there like a countdown timer? I think it still might be open. Oh, no, never mind. It's closed. Yeah, never mind. So voting is already closed. But this is a map that I did vote on. It's been quite popular. We've been seeing it from a lot of players, especially when it comes to veto processes or even map picks as well. I mean, hey, we're even seeing it here in this series. And let's get into it. So once again, as I mentioned before, it is a small map. Small map, it is... The rush distance at least signifies that it should be a rush map. Very short rush distance by ground, but we have these dragon teeth in the center. And this is more impactful, I would say, than the blocks on Neon Violet Square. On Neon Violet Square, blocks, they're a little bit more spread out, so there's more space in between them. Here, it's more limited. You just saw, the SCV can move through it. Workers can move through it. Marines, Zealots, and Adepts, and Lings, and Banelings, they can move through this as well. But slightly larger units, I'm referring to units like Stalkers. Stalkers cannot move through this. Stalkers, Archons, Immortals, tanks, of course, they cannot move freely through these little gaps. So it is very narrow here. And because that, it can make really interesting engagements here in the center. But because of the rocks, because of these cones that you cannot destroy, and because of these terrain obstacles as well, it does make this goal base quite defendable. Like you have to work through a lot to actually engage and siege the gold base. So because of that, we actually have seen a lot of players take the gold as their third or take it as their fourth base, like Terran, Protoss, and Zerg players alike. So I'm curious to see when and if a player takes a gold, and if they can get it saturated. Meanwhile, Solar, he does expand vertically. Does expand linearly here towards the left-hand side, taking his third. Meanwhile, Clem going for the third CC before Starport. Oh, and same build 2 games in a row. As a reminder, last game it was a 3cc 2-on-1, same build here, 3cc 2-on-1. This means that Clem, he's at most going to make 4 Hellions. At most 4 Hellions. If you remember, last game he did make 5 Hellions. He made an extra Hellion, and that's why I assumed that his Marine count would be a little bit lower. But usually you cut Hellions at 4, you go for an add-on swap into Marine production into that stim timing. So on the one hand, this means that Clem, he's going to have less map control early on, because Clem is going to have a lower Hellion count, so he's going to have less of a map presence to deny creep or to threaten mineral lines, but he will have a stronger mid-game with earlier stim and a mass amount of bio. So he does sacrifice the early game for the mid-game instead. And Clem is still, being active with these initial Hellions. Still being active, still rotating. There's that add-on swap into Reactor Marine production. Clem looking for another way in. Oh, and did actually find an opening. Didn't quite go for it though. Clem wasn't aware if there were Lings in position. Clem does pull away. Behind the Solar, droning, saturating. Ooh, is going for a Roach Warren opener, so very safe play here by Solar. We actually saw this in game 1, or we didn't see it on our channel, but Solar did go for this in game 1 as well. on Whispers of Gold, and it makes sense on smaller maps. It's typically just a very safe way to play, but just because it's safe doesn't mean that Clem can't break you, as that's what happened on Whispers of Gold, is that Clem, he was able to deny the 4th base, bring it down, and eventually just overwhelm Solar. So we'll see if Solar can keep up here with the aggression of Clem. As this should be Lingbane Roach Ravager. Should be Lingbane Roach Ravager here from Solar. Eventually into Hive Tech. Speaking of the 4th base, he's going for the gold. So he's going for the gold expansion. As we mentioned, this gold base feels pretty defendable just because of the terrain. Clem, he would most likely have to break down these rocks if he wanted to attack the 4th. We'll see. For now, Stim is done and Clem moves out. Does move out, going for the 4th. Queens are getting in position. There's not that many Lings, but the Roaches have arrived. Oh. And with help of the Roaches, Solar, he should defend for now. Does defend. Meanwhile, Clem, he's now aware. He's now aware of the gold. Now aware of the expansion. It's on Clem to slow down the creep spread as best he can. Oh, catching an Overlord. Does catch the Overlord. Not even supply block. Solar, ooh, yeah, 3 Overlords on the way. Big supply block. Solar going for the Infestation Pits, going for the Baliness. As we mentioned at the start, this is Lingbane Roach Ravager. That's why we should also be seeing melee upgrades from this second Evo chamber. And this is not a commitment into Mass Roach Ravager. Or at least it shouldn't be. Again, I'm making the assumption that we have melee, not range. Clem does threaten a dive into the main. Lings are in position. Drop does rotate down. Roaches are in position, catching out some of these Marines. Meanwhile, Clem pushing right down mid towards that 4th base, and Solar's out of position. Solar completely out of position here. Does rotate, does save the expansion, and doesn't lose any drones. He pulls away in time. Meanwhile, Drop comes back in, going for the 5th, and he will get a cancel. Oh, that's a kill! Kill on a cancel on the expansion. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, and Soul's being pulled apart. The terrain helps against tank pushes, but against drop play here, Solar, he is just having a hard time keeping up. Going for the medevacs. Doesn't quite get them. Medevacs, they pull away in time. 6 drone kills and the 5th base. Clem, he's in a better position. He's well set up for his move out. What's important though, Clem takes gases. He delays his Raxes, he takes 2 gases here at the 3rd, he throws down a 4cc, 2nd factory. Clem is building up towards the mid-game. Unlike what we saw in game 2, he is not going for a 3-way all-in. He's not going for an 8 Rax, is getting a 4th. I mean, he's now getting up to 8 Raxes, but this is a little bit more later. Clem does push down mid. Solar tries to set up his Lingbane Roach Ravager. Bailey's just now morphing in, but there's no Bailey speed! Decent connections. We get some okay connections here. Biles, they will connect. They take down one of the tanks. There's 1 tank left. Whew. Solid Biles. Biles are solid. I started firing there at a Clem. Does focus on one of the Bailings. Meanwhile, Miss Rally. Oh, Miss Rally here. Another tank goes down. Solar, he's holding. Solar, he's holding on. Drop into the main base. Solar, he does notice. Notice in time. Deflecting the drops. Clem still maintains his center position, but again, I don't know if Clem can really threaten the bases here, the 4th or the 5th. He's going for the 5th though, going right down mid. Does push forward. Remember, tanks, they can't move through these teeth, or they have a harder time. Oh, Queen goes down. The tanks, they have arrived. They've gone the long way around. Tanks have made it. And Solar, he's still struggling, still spending a lot of supply here to defend. His supply is tied up. Gold mining is being denied. Oh. Solar gets one of the tanks. But this may just be too much. Yeah, this may be too much here. Okay, nice angle from Clem. Pulls away, chipping away at the expansion. There is only one tank behind this, though. This does feel defendable for Solar, but he's bleeding out so much supply. Yeah, Lings, Banelings, tanks are coming from behind. Nice power bombs here on the Medivacs. Yeah, very nice power bombs. Despite that, yeah, there are too many reinforcements. Clem, he's done it. He's done it. He breaks through the defensive line. Takes down the expansion. And Solar, he's been broken. Again, the size of the map here means that Solar, he just cannot reinforce in time. He has no breathing room. He has no room to breathe. And even though Solar did take down Clem last week in the Monday Night Weekly, here in the WardiTV Monday, we have Clem overwhelming. He does overwhelm. He breaks through that defensive line. Again, shout out to the drop play of Clem. He does such a great job at just distracting Solar time and time again, pulling his attention apart. GG gets called, and Clem will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations, Clem. He will claim the series, will advance on. Again, a very close back and forth. And I do want to say that Solar, he was in a good position at some of these moments here in this game. But unfortunately, the drops were a little bit too much. The drops, they were getting damage done. They were forcing his attention elsewhere. And that allowed for Clem to actually break through that center of the map, deny a creep, and get on top of that goal base. Very little room, or very little time to react there for Solar. And he just wasn't able to keep up. GG. GG, well played, congratulations. Clem does advance on to the semis, and the question becomes, who is left in the tournament? Let's catch up. It's been a while. Let's catch up in the bracket. It looks like we have a semifinals ready for us.